Ooh, Hello, welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that is ready for a hall brawl. Ooh, baby. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 5 Total Madness episode 15, and in this episode we learn that we are dangerously close to a finals. Kyle's dad is a stunt driver and Rogan wants to bless your little cotton socks. But let's start off where last episode left off, and that was everybody coming back from the elimination where Kyle and Bailey got their red skulls after winning an elimination against Josh and Anissa. And back at the bunker, people are scrambling. Everyone has a red skull and they don't want to lose it this far into the game, this close to the final. So people are thinking of the best strategy to make it past this next week if there's going to be another daily challenge, if there's going to be another elimination. So with that being the case, Kyle and Bananas makes a pact with each other that if one of them wins into the tribunal, they'll bring the other one in to keep them safe. Cory and Nelson are talking about how great it would be to be crowned a challenge champion. Oh, and the money isn't that bad either. Now, not long after those scenes pass, that's when we get the shot of the buzzer ringing in the bunker, signifying that there is another daily challenge and people have to get ready, get dressed, and meet TJ out in this field in this runway to play in a daily challenge this week called Crash Course. He tells them that this is another double elimination, that one man and one woman will be leaving this game this episode this close to the finals. Now in Crash Course, what you're gonna be doing is that everybody is gonna be standing on these 3 barrels stacked on top of each other, and one person is gonna be in the stunt car. They're going to be driving quickly towards the barrels. You're going to want to turn, hit the e-brake, and drift into these barrels to knock down as many as you can. One man, one woman that can knock down the most barrels in their turn will win into the tribunal, and if there is a tie, it'll come down to who knocked the barrel the farthest. The first person up is Rogan, and being the first person overall is normally not a good thing, but Rogan does a fantastic job in his round as he knocks down 18 barrels, which is fantastic. Casey is the next one up. She also knocks down 18 barrels. Then Bananas comes up and knocks down a whopping 25 barrels. My goodness, how are you going to even top that after Bananas goes and has a fantastic run on his round? Kyle, whose dad is a stunt driver, who he's probably grown up around cars, knows cars like the back of his hand. Kyle gets in this thing, revs up the engine. He is ready to go show off the prowess that is stunt driving, that is in his blood. He is pedal to the metal, trying to run at these barrels. He is driving. He hits the e-brake. He is turning this wheel as hard as he can, and he does a full 180 and gets nowhere close to hitting a single barrel. He gets a whopping goose egg. And the next person up is Jenny. She is going super fast, and she is unable to turn the car as best as she can, and she only knocks down 12 barrels. Dee hits in a straight line and knocks down 2 sets of barrels, so she gets a whopping 6. Melissa also goes very, very fast, does not turn as much as she wants to, as she hits only 12 barrels. The next person up is Cory, who does a fantastic job of hitting 21 barrels, not enough to knock down Bananas 25 up at the top of the men's scoreboard. Then we have Nelson, who is talking all in his confessionals about how he wants to be out of the loser circle. He wants to finally win a daily challenge. He revs up that engine. He is ready to take off. He is hitting the pedal to the metal. He is going towards these barrels. He hits the e-brake. He turns hard, and he just goes off to the left, not hitting a single barrel, but he was closer than Kyle. But still, Nelson gets 0 barrels down. He has no shot of winning. And the final 2 competitors is Fessy, who gets a whopping 21 barrels, just like his pal Cory. And then Bailey hits into these barrels, does a really great job, and hits 18, tying Casey for the most barrels knocked down for the women's side. So we go down to TJ to get the results of this daily challenge. Bananas is clearly the winner for the men's side as he wins into the tribunal with 25 barrels. Now it's coming down to Bailey and Casey. Which woman is going to get into the tribunal? It's the one who hit the barrels the farthest away, and that is Casey. So Casey wins it to the tribunal. It's Casey and Bananas, and now they have to have a talk about who they want to bring in as their third banana. And right off the bat, Casey wants to bring in Fessy. Banana says, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but if we do not bring in Kyle, Kyle's going to be the house nominee, and he's probably going to be eliminated from this game. I want to bring him in. You have nothing to worry about Fessy. Fessy is not going to be the house vote. And then he promises Casey that if they bring in Kyle, they will not throw Fessy into the interrogation and into the elimination. So upon that, Casey says, sure, I'm cool with that. I trust you. So they bring in Kyle. So this week's tribunal is Kyle, Bananas, and Casey. And so we go back to the bunker and people are scrambling. First of all, Fessy wants reassurance from Bananas and Kyle. He wants to hear it from them that, hey, you're gonna keep me safe. And they say, yeah, we're gonna keep you safe. So then everybody's worried about the house vote. And so everybody's pretty unanimous on the guy side as they're gonna vote in Rogan. It's getting a little hairy on the women's side. Nobody knows who the house is going to vote into that. So with knowing that Rogan's going to be thrown in, Jenny wants to use that as leverage to tell Nelson and Cory that, hey, I'm not going to say your name, please don't say my name. So she goes over, her and Melissa go over to Nelson, talks about that they're going to vote in Rogan no matter what, that you're safe with us. Nelson takes this information, goes over to Rogan, and Cory says that Jenny is throwing your name under the bus. Cory already does not like Jenny from what happened in the past episodes and what happened throughout this season with their whole favor thing. So Cory wants to say Jenny's name as soon as possible, which he doesn't have to wait very long as we go straight into the nomination ceremony. And Rogan starts things off with a preemptive strike. He knows that all the votes are going to be coming his way. So he is already talking about how, hey, during the offseason, people said I skated by, that I did not see a single elimination, that I didn't deserve to be in last year's finals. So guess what? I'm going to say I'm going to throw myself in. I'm going to take you guys head on, and I want to put my name on the board. Of course, nobody's going to object to that. So they tell him, go throw your name on the board. So he does. And then that opens the women's side of things. And so the women all vote one vote each on each other. So it's a four-way tie with one vote each, and now it's on the men to determine who they want to see in this week's elimination. Fessy starts things off by putting a vote on D, and then that's when Cory votes Jenny's name, Nelson votes Jenny's name. Rogan is the last one to vote, but before he submits his vote, he wants some answers. He goes over to Jenny, says, hey, were you gonna vote me in after I had your back in this game? You said you would never vote me into the elimination unless I wanted to. And he calls her a pawn in Bananas and Kyle's games, that she has no brain. Jenny is stammering. She is totally blindsided by Rogan's questioning and attack on her. She can't get anybody to change the votes from off of her. Rogan puts the nail in the coffin, says her name, and she has to put her name on the board. She is livid. Now, after the house nomination, Melissa has to explain herself why she voted the way she did to Kyle and Bananas, as apparently there was a conversation off camera where Bananas and Kyle laid it all out there on why Melissa should vote in D. And apparently they talked to Bailey about it, but they decided to do their own thing, and it screwed Jenny over. And Kyle threatens Melissa, saying that, hey, if Jenny wants to go up against you in the elimination, we're gonna give her that. Let's head over to the tribunal ceremony, and that's when Bananas, Casey, and Kyle are all sitting there looking at the names, figuring out who they want to throw in to interrogation and possibly throw into this week's elimination. So they're looking at the names, they're looking at the women first, and they decide that they're going to cross Melissa off the list on who they want to bring into the interrogation room. Yes, they had a kind of falling out with her in this episode just for a little bit, but she was never really a target, so they're going to bring in Bailey and Dee to interrogate. And that's when they're looking at the guy's name and who's available to bring into the interrogation. And Bananas makes it known that he wants Rogan out of this game. He doesn't want to see Rogan in the finals whatsoever. But he's going to keep his word and keep his deal with Casey that he is not going to bring in Fessy into the interrogation. So they're going to bring in Cory and Nelson to interrogate. So the four people they're bringing into the interrogation is Cory, Nelson, Dee, and Bailey. So the first person up is Cory. He came into the interrogation talking about how he's not going to say anything bad against Nelson. Him and Nelson are best friends, and he already knows no matter what he says in the interrogation room that these three people are going to be doing what is best for their game, no matter what he says. The next person in is Nelson, and Kyle talks about how they want Rogan out of this game. So no matter who they throw in, whether it be Nelson or Cory, they want to see them back in the game, even though that maybe sounds backwards, but they really do want to throw in the best person that could take out Rogan. Next person in is Dee, and she talks about how she's been in the Purgatory twice, she's won twice, and she doesn't have any plans of stopping anytime soon. And the last person for interrogation is Bailey. She comes in and she talks about how proud she is of herself, that she feels as though she had a fantastic season, and that she knows she's a rookie, and if her name is called, that she is ready to go in and face Jenny in whatever elimination that they will be playing in. So that is it for the Tribunal. Everybody's just chilling around, doing their thing in the bunker. Kyle and Bananas are in the living room, and that's when Nelson comes in. He is making jokes about how he's like trying to show off that he's like, hey, you want me to be in the finals because I'm kind of bad at swimming, I'm not good at puzzles, I'm okay with math. But after all that joking around, he wants to get serious, and he talks about how he wants them to vote him into the elimination. That Cory has a lot of responsibilities back at home, that he has a daughter at home, he has another daughter on the way, and that he doesn't want to have Cory's game in jeopardy, that he would rather put his game in jeopardy, his game on the line instead of Cory's. It is time for Purgatory, and we go to Purgatory, and of course we have that setup. We know exactly what it is by the time we see it on the screen. By the time people are walking into Purgatory, they know exactly what elimination they are in for this episode. That's right, we're talking about the Hall Brawl. We're getting a headbanger this episode, and this is the best episode for it. We have Rogan and Jenny joining TJ on the Purgatory floor, and that's when TJ looks up at the Tribunal and asks for their votes on who they want to send in to the elimination this episode, and it's unanimous on both sides. We have a vote of 3-0 to send Dee in against Jenny in this Hall Brawl, and then we have a vote of 3-0 to send Nelson in against Rogan in this Hall Brawl. Jenny is looking for redemption after being eliminated in the Hall Brawl last season against Tori. Now she's having to face off against Dee. TJ is ready to blow the horn in round 1. He blows it, and that's when these girls are going at each other. Jenny gets low, like really low, hits Dee in the midsection. That's when Dee is like off on her heels, and once she is on her heels, Jenny does not let up. She is like pushing Dee over and over again until Dee is on the ground. She is trying to step over Dee, and that's when Dee is holding on to her shoe, and then Jenny is able to slip out of Dee's grasp, loses her shoe. However, once she is out of Dee's grasp, she is able to grab her shoe, saunter over to the bell, and ring the bell with her shoe that's in her hand. One of the best endings to a round of Hall Brawl I've ever seen in my life. I don't think Dee was even close to being ready mentally or physically for round 1 or what she was expecting in round 1 in this Hall Brawl against Jenny. TJ hits that horn, they're going, and Jenny seems to get even lower than she did in round 1. Hits Dee so hard that Dee turns around and Jenny is pushing Dee, showing her the exit door on her way over to ringing her bell, and Jenny wins, decimating Dee in this Hall Brawl 2-0. We have Nelson, we have Rogan ready to go head to head, and let me tell you right now, when TJ blows that horn, these two guys are scrumming. These guys are just giving it all on the line. They are holding each other, they are smacking into each other, they are going hard as heck for one another. Nelson loses himself because he is well over halfway to his bell when he could just let go of Rogan and run and easily get round 1, but he doesn't know where he's at. You don't know where you're at in that scrum, and that's when he doesn't let go early enough, and when he does let go, Rogan is able to grab him by the back of his shoulder pads. That's when Nelson falls down to the ground. He's trying to hold on to Rogan's foot, and Rogan is able to squeeze away and hit his bell, getting round 1. Nelson needs to win this second round to even have a shot of winning this elimination and making it into the finals. In round 2, TJ blows the horn. They're going at each other even harder than in round 1, which is insane. Rogan goes really, really low. They're really giving it all they can, and that's when Nelson is holding on to Rogan. They're both pretty much on the ground. That's when Nelson decides to take everybody's advice from last round and he lets go of Rogan. He is turning around to try to run and make a dash, make a sprint to his bell to get this round 2 and force a round 3. But when he turns around, he is unable to collect his balance, collect his feet from under him, and when he is trying to move, he is like falling down every step of the way. Rogan is able to collect himself, collect his balance faster, run over to his bell, he rings it, and he wins 2 rounds to nothing. Nelson and Cory have a fantastic friendship. They are sharing a fantastic moment with one another. It's very touching. Dee and Nelson are eliminated from this episode and they are sent out of this game. That's when TJ announces it to everyone that's left in this game, all 9 competitors, that they have all made it to the finals this year, that you need to pack your bag because the next time you hear from me, we will be heading to one of the most brutal finals in challenge history. But that's where this episode ends. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about the daily challenge called Crash Course? What do you think about this Hall Brawl eliminations? Let me know that in the comment section below. And what do you think about Cory and Nelson's friendship? It's absolutely fantastic to see in a game like this. To me, it was very, very touching and I almost shed some tears, I'm not gonna lie. But what do you think about this episode in general? Let me know everything and anything you have to say down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.